Hello everyone and welcome to the third lecture in the series of lectures on quantitative techniques. In this lecture we will be talking about presentation of data, and this is the first part of the lecture dealing with presentation of data. Now in the previous lecture we studied that data could be gathered from primary sources or secondary sources. This data that is collected may be presented either in a tabular form or in a graphical form. So let us begin by understanding what is tabulation. Now, tabulation or tabular presentation of data is a systematic and logical arrangement of data in the form of rows and columns. Now, this categorization into rows and columns is done with the help of some characteristic of the data. You may recall that in the previous lecture we had categorized the weights of the students of the primary class into kilograms. Now, it says here that it is an orderly arrangement which is compact and self-explanatory. Now, why do we say it is compact? Because it gives us a snapshot of the weights of all the students. By classifying them into different class intervals, we know exactly how many students have weights in a given category. Now let us understand the objectives of tabular presentation of data. The objectives of tabular presentation of data are mentioned below. A tabular presentation helps in the simplification of complex data. Now the example that was cited earlier, we have a snapshot of the weights of the different students of the class. So it gives us a summary of the number of students who have weights in the different categories. It helps in the comparison of different data sets and brings out their essential aspects. So by looking at this table, we can get a snapshot of the essential features of the data. That is the highest value, the lowest value, and so on. Statistical analysis can be undertaken from a tabular presentation. Now, once we have put the data in the form of a table, we can carry out statistical analysis with ease. A tabular presentation of data further aids in formation of graphs and diagrams for data analysis. Now, so basically once we have captured the data in the form of a table, we can present it in the form of graphs for better visual explanation, and we can also carry out further analysis. Now coming to the second method of data presentation, that is graphical representation of data. Graphic representation is another way of analyzing numerical data. A graph is a sort of chart through which statistical data are represented in the form of lines or curves drawn across the coordinated points plotted on its surface. Graphs enable us in studying the cause and effect relationships between two variables. Graphs help to measure the extent of change in one variable when another variable changes by a certain amount. Now this will be evident when we are doing the correlation analysis with the help of scatter plots. Now you may note that graphic visual representation of information is a crucial component in understanding and identifying patterns and trends in the ever-increasing flow of data. Graphical representation enables the quick analysis of large amounts of data at one time and can aid in making predictions and informed decisions. Now let us see what are the advantages of graphical representation of data. The primary advantages of graphical representation of data are: it facilitates and improves learning. Graphics make data easy to understand and eliminate language and literacy barriers. For example, anybody who looks at a graph can interpret the meaning of the graph provided he has sufficient knowledge of statistics. You need not have verbal communication to bring out the key highlights of the graph. Now, second is understanding content. Visuals are more effective than text in human understanding. The third is flexibility of use. Graphical representation can be leveraged in nearly every field involving data. The next is increases structured thinking. The users can make quick data-driven decisions at a glance with the help of visual aids. Let us learn about some more advantages of graphical representation. Now, it supports creative, personalized reports for more engaging and stimulating visual presentations. So with the help of graphs, you can bring out the essential features of the data with more clarity. It improves communication. Analyzing graphs that highlight relevant themes is significantly faster than reading through a descriptive report line by line. When you have to read the reports, you may miss out certain essentials from the report, but these cannot be missed if you have a visual display of the information. The next is, it shows the whole picture, an instantaneous full view of all variables, time frames, data behavior, and relationships is explained with the help of graphs. Now there are certain disadvantages of graphical representation of data as well. Disadvantages of graphical representation of data typically concern the cost of human effort and resources. The process of selecting the most appropriate graphical and tabular representation of data, greater design complexity of visualizing data, and the potential for human bias. Now, these factors cannot be eliminated while drawing the graphs. For example, you may also have the inappropriate selection of the graphical tool. So this may not capture the essence of the data and may mislead the observer. An important method of graphic representation of data is with the help of bar diagrams or bar graphs. Now, a bar diagram is one of the easiest and the most commonly used devices of presenting discrete series data. These are especially satisfactory for categorical data or series. They consist of a group of equidistant rectangles, one for each group or category of data, in which values or the magnitudes are represented by length or height of the rectangles, the width of rectangles being arbitrary and immaterial. So basically here we have one dimension of interest, right? Hence, these diagrams are also called one-dimensional because in such diagrams only one dimension, namely the height or the length of the rectangles, is taken into account to present the given values. Before proceeding, please understand that the bar diagrams are the unidimensional diagrams. That is, in this there is only one dimension of interest. Right? Now, the following points may be borne in mind in order to draw the bar diagrams. Now, let us understand how we are going to draw the bar diagrams. 1. All the bars drawn in a single study should be of uniform width depending upon the number of bars to be drawn and the space available, that is the scale chosen for the study. Now, in the example that was stated, we had 4 class intervals in which the weights of the students were divided, right? So on the x-axis here, we will be drawing 4 bar diagrams. We will be drawing 4 bars, right? One will be for lesser than 40 kilograms. The second bar will represent 40 to 50. The third 50 to 60, and the fourth will represent greater than 60 kilograms, right? So we will have 4 bars representing the 4 classes, right? Now, on the y-axis, we will be plotting the frequency or the number of students, right? Now, let us understand the second point. Proper but uniform spacing should be given between different bars to make the diagram look more attractive and elegant. The third point is the height or the length of the rectangles or the bars are taken proportional to the magnitude of the observations. In this case, we have the frequencies that will be represented on the y-axis, and hence the frequencies should be proportionate. A scale being selected keeping in view the magnitude of the largest observation. Now the fourth point is all the bars should be constructed on the same baseline. In this case, we will choose the x-axis as the baseline. It is desirable to write the figures, that is the magnitudes represented by the bars at the top of the bars to enable the reader to have a precise idea of the value without looking at the scale. So basically this point mentions that on top of the bar that is drawn, one should mention the value, that is the frequency, right? So by looking at the bar diagram, the person has a fair idea of what is the length of the bar or what is the frequency that corresponds to a given class interval. The next is bars may be drawn vertically or horizontally, right? Now, we may have these bars placed either vertically or horizontally. Now, when we are plotting it on the x-axis, we have drawn the vertical bars, right? However, in practice, vertical bars are generally used because they give an attractive and appealing getup. So generally we have these bars drawn on the x-axis and the frequencies drawn on the y-axis. Whenever possible, the bars should be arranged from left to right. That is, the lowest category, that is less than 40, being the first bar, second 40 to 50, 50 to 60, and then the last bar being greater than 60. Now, repeating the last point once again, wherever possible, the bars should be arranged from left to right, that is from top to bottom in case of horizontal bars, in order of magnitude to give a pleasing effect. Now, having learned how to make the bar diagrams, in the next lecture we will be talking about the different types of bar diagrams. Thank you students for your attention and time.